I feel as a person that I am a creative practitioner. A creative practitioner to me means someone who can identify problems or areas that need improvement, and then design solutions for it that may not follow the normal practice, or even link ideas together that may not or may have been linked in that way before. But they perfectly complement each other in terms of the problem at hand, or even just for the sole purpose of aesthetics or enjoyment. For me, my creative urges started at a very young age. Technology has always been something that has truly interested and inspired me, and as a young child I would always be finding old bits of technology or computer parts from my dad's collection, and would take them apart in a bit to understand how they work, and how I could use them in my own creations. I was very young when I built my first computer. I still remember the awe and sense of discovery I felt as my dad showed me how each piece fitted together, and what it did in order to make the computer work. From then on I was hooked to the idea of tinkering and creation, and even hacking of older devices that suit them to my own purpose. As an avid gamer, a lot of my earlier tinkering came in the form of console modding or hacking. I used to go out and source old consoles such as PlayStations and Xbox originals, and take them apart in order to install my own firmware on them, using hot swapping techniques. This allowed me to run homebrew applications and different operating systems on them. I've always had a drive, a hunger for creation that pushes me into my next idea or project. As life seems dull for me if you're not actively trying to add your own stuff to it. As much as I love technology, it wasn't enough for me though, and I wanted to be creative in all aspects. So I worked on projects in art, namely paper crafting, 3D modeling and can art, also projects in filmmaking and special effects, basic engineering, robotics, QR code interactive applications, game making, design, basic weapon creation, business running, game modding, fantasy novel writing, and even obscure skills such as hypnotism. One person who has always and still does inspire me is one of my close childhood friends, Mike Thomas. Even from a young age, he was a driven and creative person with a large focus on computing and programming. He was my first coding teacher, and we covered a variety of game-making projects through our high school years, and he's largely accountable for my favourite creative practice, which is application and game development. Even though his skills far exceeded me in younger years, and still do in fact, he always took the time out to get me up to scratch, and show me the ins and outs of the programming world. Another person who has inspired me over the years for their creativity is Marcus Passion, or you may know him as Notch, for his extremely popular voxel engine game Minecraft, and the creative processes he followed to build his company up from one person to now over 30. The game was not only a creative game in its own right, but it gave its players the tools to be creative as well. My creative process and thinking when it comes to projects has largely varied over the years, but it mostly boils down to me sitting down and taking time to think over something when I feel in a creative mood. I break down everything in my head before I document it all, and then I throw my ideas at my friends and family to get an outside perspective before starting to work on it. My process is by no means perfect, and I hope to keep refining and working on my productivity over the next few years. At the end of the day, creativity and creative process mean different things to different people, and there are heaps of different perspectives on different ideas. I guess in a sense, that's what makes ideas unique and creative in the first place.